Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV. By building strong relationships with potential customers and demonstrating its value, my client was able to close more sales, drive a 200% increase in revenue, and establish a loyal customer base.
Well, welcome and good evening, business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and corporations. Welcome to the Black Business Network. My name is Gene Baker from GPB Consulting. I am your business moderator for this evening on the Black Business Network. The Black Business Network is a 24-hour business network showcasing Black businesses, Black owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders worldwide. We have had speakers from all over the world: London, Singapore, Africa, Japan, North Carolina, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and cities all over the United States. The Black Business Network is a global community sharing its business knowledge to empower, to inspire, and educate businesses about business. Next up is a conversation between myself and Grant McGaugh about leadership and leadership styles. And I'm so excited to bring this gentleman onto the stage. Grant is a phenomenal person who is so influential in business. He is an owner and founder of 5-Star BDM. He's been recognized by Legacy Magazine as a thought leader and super connector for healthcare professionals. His highlights include establishing a statewide organization for the National Association for Health Services Executives for Florida. He serves as an immediate past president and as the Regent National Board member of NASE, NAHSE He's also the program chair for HIMSS in South Florida. He provides knowledge share programs for health information technology professionals in South Florida. Named by Miami Legacy Magazine as South Florida's top Black healthcare professional of 2019 and an African American achiever by JM Family in 2020. Grant McGaugh has created a socially conscious digital presence that inspires the healthcare community. Grant has also been recognized by Becker's Healthcare Review and best-selling author and brand master Martin Lindstrom in 2021. With over 20,000 followers collectively, Grant has taught entrepreneurs, students, and multi-passionate go-getters from all walks of life how to dream big and to back it up with daily actions to create results. He offers his acclaimed personal branding program and business development strategy for small enterprises, featured both in NASE News, the Miami Herald, and the Sun Sentinel. So welcome back to the stage, Grant. I am so excited to have this conversation with you. How are you, sir?
No, thank you, Gene. Really appreciate. Sorry I had to put you through all of that information there. You could have just said, welcome, Grant McGaugh. I would have been popped right up. Just a pleasure and an honor to be able to share this stage with you. You yourself are also very, very accomplished. You've done a lot of different things in your lifetime, and I applaud you for your leadership.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. As we say, genius is common, and it wouldn't do us any good by sharing, by keeping that genius to ourselves. We need to share it, and we need to be a sponge from others that are geniuses as well. And in so doing, that's how we move forward as a people.
Yes, exactly. So now you got my curiosity up. I'm sure the audience is a little bit curious. Like, Gene, tell us more about, because I was just going through some of your profile myself. You've done a lot in marketing. You do a lot in leadership. You're doing a lot in corporate business. You are a DISC trainer, and I think a lot of people don't realize what that is. It kind of really assesses your personality. Tell us more about what is your passion around leadership, and a little bit more about your history.
Yeah. So, well, I've been working in pharmaceutical manufacturing and healthcare for well over 20 years, really about 25 years or so. Most of that time, since 2000, I've been in leadership positions, from sales training all the way through district and regional leadership positions. And so during that time in pharmaceutical manufacturing, there has been a lot of change in the market.
Yeah.
Just a lot of different competition, different government pressures, different market pressures that has resulted in a lot of different organizational structural change and downsizings. So since about 2004, I've been through about every year and a half, a significant restructure or downsizing. So what I learned even through all that is you still have to lead, you still have to motivate, you still have to develop, and you still have to get results.
Yeah.
You can't get to the next opportunity or the next company without results. And so what I learned leadership by, baptism by fire. And so, what I thought leadership was when I first got into it, it's really kind of changed and developed over the years. And that's where I really kind of developed my passion, because at the core of it, leadership is influence. And you can't influence people unless you really are able to connect with people. So that's really where my passion comes, because I've always wanted to, and I've always been a connector. And so I use that skill and really develop that skill even further to reach people at a different level and connect with them and help them focus in on a task at hand today, while also preparing them for the future. So as we were moving through all these restructurings and downsizings and upsizings, whatever you want to call it, I made it through all that. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? If this is my passion, why don't I start to develop that? So I became a member of the John Maxwell team and really learned leadership from John Maxwell's standpoint of view, and started teaching that. I ended up developing a whole leadership course over a year and taught it to the pharmaceutical organization I'm currently a part of. And so I took that and then said, you know what, I really enjoy DE&I and facilitating that topic. So I became certified in a number of DE&I courses. So I trained leaders in diversity, equity, inclusion, and challenge your bias types of courses. And then I said, you know what, I want to pick up some certifications so I can coach executives. And so I became a partner with Management Research Group, and they have leadership behavioral certifications where you can really help leaders figure out how do you show up in the workplace and help them get 360 feedback on a number of leader behaviors so they can really get really good data as to say, okay, this is how you think you show up. This is how others think you show up in these leader behaviors that are critical for your organization and your position. And then you add on top of that a different type of assessment that measures your energy called the IDI.
Yeah.
So this is where you get your energy from, and then so where you get your energy from and how you show up are interlinked. So it just creates this great opportunity to help people be their best selves. So that's kind of what I do. So I still do my daytime job. I'm still a corporate affairs director for a TV network at night. And I still do public speaking. I still do coaching. So I do a lot, but it's really, most of it is more passion. And when you're passionate about something, it's really not work.
Oh, no. And you must be passionate about what you do to wear all those different hats, but you have found the common thread that ties it all together. And you can pour into those things that you feel most confidently about so you can be your authentic self, no matter whether you're in the corporate boardroom, you're doing your own thing, or you're helping with any kind of association or outside of your normal everyday work. I think that's very applaudable. So we're going to talk about leadership. And I think you've set the bar about the qualifications about what it takes to understand leadership, as far as from a curriculum standpoint, from a credibility standpoint. But when the rubber hits the road is what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just frame the story. Let's go. We're two black men, two African-American men. I assume you were born here in the United States. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we probably have some shared experiences that we have had. And maybe we didn't have that direct experience, or we see it indirectly within the black male experience in America that has been talked about widely. We've seen it usually every night in the nightly news. There's some kind of usually negative content around black males, and that I call that they're fishing at the low end of the pool. Right? They don't come upstream to see, like, we're 13% of the population, but you're going to tell me we're 80% of all the crime that's happening? That math doesn't add up very, very, very well. So what are the other parts of this population doing that we can shed light on? Because you are a professional, articulate black man who is out there doing a number of facets of things. You go way against that paradigm shift. How do you show up when you see others maybe that don't look like you and they want to hear your story, and you got to bring that authentic self to the stage?
Yeah. So part of it is my background, right? So I was adopted at 4 years old, and my adoptive parents are white. And so I have two white brothers and a mixed sister. I'm actually biologically mixed as well. My birth mom is white. And so, growing up in that environment gave me a different perspective on how, that side views and sees life. And it also gave me an advantage in terms of, not being disadvantaged, from a historical standpoint, from a resource standpoint. My parents had resources. My dad was an executive. He had opportunity, so I didn't come up from a disadvantaged standpoint. And I had an additional lens of, what it's like to live in, the majority, right? World. And so you kind of use that as I've maneuvered my way through corporate America, and understanding how to and the importance of connecting with others. Because here's the deal: there's not many, like you mentioned, there's not many of us. Any black male out there understands, no matter where you are in corporate world, unless you're working for a black organization, you are going to be one of few. I've been an executive in a room of thousands of executives, even recently, and counted on two hands the number of black executives in that room. And you look around and you're like, wow, this is crazy, because I know there's more talent than this.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But what I do personally is make sure that those that I'm working with see me for me, that are comfortable with me. And sometimes that means spending more time than maybe others have to, making sure that those around me, that those that can impact my career, are comfortable with me.
Right.
I don't have to kiss anybody's butt, per se, but it's just taking a little bit extra time to make sure that I'm finding commonalities. I'm taking that extra time to find those commonalities, because those commonalities allow you to connect, allow you to bring down some barriers.
Yeah.
That may, prevent that connection. Because once you connect, then you can influence. Once you can influence, now you can lead, and you can gain advocates for your career.
I 100% agree with you. First, I'm going to applaud you. That is not an easy road. And then I'm curious at the same time, because you lived both experiences. You know how the majority, our white Caucasian counterparts think and see life, because you're in the room, even
Right.
though, and then on the other side, how the African American experience on the other side. So you're like, wow, I'm a part of both of these worlds. But here's the rub, and I'm sure you've run across this. Like, when you show up, before you say one word, they're going to see you as a black male.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even realize, wow, I'm biracial, and I was actually raised in a white household. So I understand your language.
Right. Right.
But you've got to, because I know I had some friends that grew up similarly, and I have a real good friend of mine that was also adopted, and they have had to embrace certain realizations that I never even thought about growing up, and then adopting and adapting in that society. But the number one thing that I got from that is when they completely accepted their whole self. The complex, it's like, that's I can't split myself into this and that and that. Like, I am who I am as a human being, and I insist that you embrace me as a human being. And based on that, we can have true discussion. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to insist. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be valued. I want to be respected. And so I say that. I literally say that. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be valued. I want to be respected. That's inclusion.
Yes.
I want to be at the table, and I want you to want to hear my voice. And so, you do that in a way that is not off-putting, and the way to do that is, again, going back to, being able to connect with others and being comfortable with others. And the way to do that is, find commonalities. So you got to be good at kind of small talk. Get people talking about themselves. When I'm in a big room and I'm like the only guy that looks like me, well, guess what? I could, go slink off somewhere and disappear. So you have to just kind of say, you know what? I am here. I am me, and I belong in this room. And so I'm going to have conversations with you all. And but you don't do it off-putting. You ask people about themselves. Get people talking about themselves. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves? Once people start talking about themselves and you feed into that, and you find some commonalities, now you're connecting. Now, man, now they see you as more, hey, okay, you're pretty cool, man. I can relate to you.
Yeah.
And so that's been consistent across the board, no matter what position that I'm in. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. We always, and right or wrong, our ability has to be up here. Like our skill sets have to be top notch.
Yeah.
You can't be a slacker. You can't be not really good, because you won't get opportunities. You have to stand out.
Yeah.
In a way that's non-threatening sometimes, but you have to be good. And so early on, I remember when I got into pharmaceuticals, I knew nothing about science, pharmaceuticals, nothing. I came into a district that was highly tenured. I was the only Black guy in this district. But within a year, I became a district trainer. Within 2 years, I was a little over 2 years, I became a national sales trainer. Mm-hmm. And so how did I do that? Well, I made sure that every day, every morning, early in the morning, I spent an hour studying. And then I would go out in the field and I would apply that knowledge.
Yeah.
So the combination of obtaining knowledge and applying that knowledge and growing with that knowledge and adjusting, allowed my growth curve to exponentially grow. So that puts you, if you do that consistently, you automatically will put yourself in the top 20%, regardless of race.
Now you said something very important. And I want especially our students, young professionals, I want you to listen to what you just said and really step back and absorb some of that. And I'm going to put one word out there. What I have listened to from a lot of different, especially younger individuals, younger than me, is that word confidence. You've got to have absolute confidence. A lot of times, I was in a room last night, exactly what you just said. There's 30 professionals in that room. I was the only Black male there. But because they were talking about a subject matter that I was very well versed in, and I was already well respected because of the brand, that my personal brand that I brought to the table. So a lot of people already knew me or knew of me. And I could stand on that, and I felt very comfortable in the room. When people are starting to come up to you and ask you certain things, certain opinions, how do you feel about this or that? And I was actually moderating the entire room discussion. So I'm on point, I'm visible, and I am not focused on my race or my background or anything like that. I am focused on delivering the experience and the insights and directing all of that. And I think people, other executives, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but they pick up on that. You immediately go beyond. When you first sit down, people size you up. You start looking at certain things, how you're dressed, this and that. But once you open your mouth and you start articulating and you start putting things on the table, all that other stuff, they don't remember none of that stuff. All they remember is the value that you brought. I want our young professionals to understand that. Don't worry about, I'm not tall enough. My color is not the right. I'm not from the right neighborhood. I'm not like, no, bring value, bring the knowledge, bring the insight. Why are you having this conversation? And what can you do to add to that? We are in such a digital age now, you can attain information at your fingertips. We need to gain the information. Here's something I put out there. I remember being 30 years old. I was 30 years old. I was actually living in New England. And for me, coming from the Midwest, I had lived in really a predominantly Black urban area, even though it was in the Midwest. But when I went out to the Northeast, it was 1% people of color. We're not talking about just Black people of color, period. I lived in New Hampshire. It's like, wow, there's really no Black people there. And I was married to, my wife was a Native American. I mean, straight from the reservation, that kind of thing. And I finally realized what she'd always tell me. So you were always in your environment. I'm hardly ever in mine. So now we're both out of our environment. I started to realize certain things about how people perceived me and what was going on, how I perceived myself. And it took some information that I got from one of the elders from her tribe that reminded me, so the first thing you need to understand is that you are a human being. Once you realize that, all
Yeah.
those other things are just subsets. You
Yeah.
are a human being. And as a human being, you can communicate with any other human being, whether they're the king or the barber, on the level of being a human being. From that point on, I had confidence of who I was as a human being. Had nothing to do with my race, my ethnicity, my religion, my politics. I always relate to people as a human being.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so people relate to you when they see you and they relate to you and they see you as a human, as a person. Number one, not just, well, hey, I'm a black guy. No, I'm a person beyond everything else. But
Yeah.
the other thing that people do is to relate to values. How do you show up? What's your North Star? And do they relate to your North Star? How do you communicate your values? It is so critically important. So I learned years ago, as I was leading different, units, to make sure that I had a list of values, and we discussed those values. And I say, how do I show up? How am I committing to showing up with these values? And then I have each person kind of go around and say, what does this value mean to you? How would you show up and show this value? And so when you have that kind of conversation on a regular type of basis, now you have another significant way to connect those around you, and people know how you're showing up. They know what you stand for.
Yeah.
And when they know what you stand for, now they start to not see, I shouldn't say, I hate that word, not see color, but they don't see you first as a black man. They just see you as a man whose values relate to their values.
Well, that the perception that they had. That's really a lot of times you just hold a perception that's not factual. It's like you're reading a book before just by looking at the cover, and that cover usually is tainted. It's like that's not real. Like all white people are not all the same. They don't all have the same attitudes and opinions and blah blah blah, because you're not accepting them as a human being. And I've talked to so many different people from all walks of life. I live in Miami, Florida now. And one thing I've loved about Miami, and I've said this several times on this program, and I will say it again, it's like you cannot judge somebody based on appearance in South Florida, because they are from all walks of life. They speak all kinds of languages. They're from so many different countries. Just because a person looks like me, I cannot assume, oh, they have an African American experience. Like, no, they could be from, Guatemala. They could be from Cuba. They can be from the Dominican Republic. They can be from Africa. They could be from Europe. They can be from London. So you allow a person to identify who they are, and as you just aptly said, their values. Let them fill that in. If that resonates with you, fine. I think that's great.
Yeah.
This is a good conversation that we're having.
Yeah. And the other, part about that is to understand the impact of the narrative of told by media. And so, on both sides, so you have a lot of, white people that are getting a lot of stories and images and imagery and a narrative told to them based on their media outlets that is, biased in a certain way.
Sure.
And so that narrative is just pounded to them every day, every minute, every hour. And over the years, that's really hard to start to break down those perceptions and those beliefs that are built off of a house of cards.
Yeah.
And on the same thing, black folk, based on their experience, I remember going to college and, getting involved with the Black Student Alliance, and we would have all these conversations and whatnot. And I remember, people saying, yeah, I can never trust a white person. Never. I'm like, what? What do you mean you can never trust any white person? Like, are you kidding me? But then you have to take a step back and say, well, tell me about your experience.
Yeah, right.
Why do you say that? And then you understand, okay, well, based on your experiences, I can understand how you're feeling. That doesn't mean that that's, the right, thought process. but I can understand based on your experience why you feel that way. And then now let's work on breaking some of those. Let me tell you about my experience
Yeah.
living, in white world, and maybe that will change some of your perception. So, I think all of these perceptions that all of us have create these biases, and many of these biases are hidden, and that's why courageous conversations is what we like to call it, and just having conversations, just with each other, and just making space to connect and have open, honest conversation without feeling the need to slam somebody based off of what they say.
Man,
We really need to give people some leeway.
you got, and that's the thing. Like these are realities. If you do like let's say you have a diversity, equity, inclusion event, you're going to do a forum, and it's going to involve, you could be involved in an association or it could be a company, and you could put together a panel, all these different things, right? Invariably, you're going to get usually women, Black people of color, and then they're going to be the panel discussion and predominantly the audience. And I'm like, this is going nowhere. If you don't have the majority, the majority perception on the stage, how is this ever going to change?
Yeah.
It's not, because you don't have that perception there. So we're talking amongst ourselves, but then I blame that. You say, well, I look at really the people need to understand this, because we are biased in our distribution of intelligence and information, and that you say, oh, well, it's the D&I, I'm not included. Like, yeah, you are. That's called inclusion. Why do you know you're not inclusion? But because how we are demonstrating these type of events, we're demonstrating that it's not for you. I've never seen an all-white D&I panel.
And you know what? They do have panels like that out there. You're like, huh? What are we doing here? But hey, let me switch gears a minute. As we talk about Black leadership, I'm involved with a fraternity, the oldest historically Black fraternity in the world, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. You go to some of these meetings and you see some like uber talented brothers out here, like, whoa, like, how is it that organizations can't find us? And it's just crazy, man. But as we think about taking advantage of all of that talent as individuals in these corporations that we're in, as leaders, there's a couple things that I think as Black leaders we can demonstrate that will help us, be leaders not of today but also of tomorrow. Because corporate world is changing, society is changing. Artificial intelligence that advancement curve, kind of goes like this, and it's like straight up now. The advances are coming quick, fast, in a hurry, and colleges haven't caught up, corporations haven't caught up. There's a lot of people, Black folk, by 2030, they're saying about 4.5 million jobs that Black people would normally have are going to disappear.
Wow.
As leaders, as Black leaders, we have an opportunity to show some leadership, to show some vision, to be more of a coach, which means that we have to have some knowledge, and you have to take advantage of, what? I'm seeing what's happening, what's coming down the pike. That train has left the station. Let me be prepared so I can lead my people down this path, right? That in itself will hold a lot of value. The secondly is that servant leadership attitude. Like, okay, understand that people are going to be put in very uncomfortable situations, and you are there to help them achieve their best selves. So that means that I am fully invested in understanding you as a person and helping you take advantage of your strengths and figure out what is most of the best match for you moving forward, because your current position may not be here.
Man, I'm going to, because what you said is so important. It's like, where are we at now as a people and what we need to do. Meaning this, if you're seeing what's happening in corporate America, which you brought up, there's so many different talented people of color, Black people in general, that are very talented, but they're not getting the opportunities. Here we are on the Black Business Network. One thing I've always heard Dr. Kelly talk about is Black Wall Street. We have, this is not a cool thing to do. This is something we must do. It is imperative that we create our own economic engine.
Yeah.
And until we do that, we're always going to be at a disadvantage. That has to happen. We've got to get investment dollars into our businesses. The business have to grow. We've got to patronize these businesses. We got to take pages out of some of the other ethnic societies that have done this, whether it's in the Jewish community or the Korean community and some others. This is an imperative. We must do this for survival, because once you create commerce, we take that $1.6 trillion that flows in our community and start putting it in ourselves. We're in the, the most prosperous nation in the country, but we're not utilizing the resources that we constantly have. So it's like, wow, if they won't get a loan from him, I can get a loan from somebody else. We've got to make this imperative. Like, you must create. We must have our own business structure. We must have our own economic base. This is not a request. This is a requirement.
It's a requirement.
Once you have that, then you have leverage. If you don't have any leverage, there's no reason. So why should I hire just somebody to be on my corporate board if I don't like them, or just because they represent? Like, I don't have to do that. So you've got to start looking at the reality of the situation and say, okay, I get it. I need to create my own. Unless, hopefully, you won't get in my way of creating my economic base, because historically, this is what has happened in our communities, that when we do start to do that, there is a reaction to that, and then you have destruction. We don't want to do that. I would hope here in 2023 that at that scale does not happen, but it's imperative that we do that, and having the leadership, understanding how to get access to capital, access to knowledge. Now, here we go. So I know something's on your mind. Bring it up.
Oh man, this is so critical. But it's like, as a people, we've been groomed over the years to be consumers. More than other races, really, and it's systemic because we've been denied, access to wealth and capital. And so when you're denied that, then they push you to being a consumer. And so there's a lot of history there that we're overcoming. But the good news is there's a lot of interest across generations now in entrepreneurship and in business. So that's the good news. Capital is not always there, but more capital has become available, including in our own Black-owned banks. So we just need to be more aware of there's various banks that we can go to, including our own, that are more likely to give us capital. But, and it's a big but, we also can't just come to the table and say, oh, okay, Black business, Black bank, all right, give me some money. It doesn't work like that. We have to really come prepared with sound business plans and well thought of analysis of the markets in which we want to penetrate and operate in. And there's so many resources out there now, whether it's online or Black chambers, business chambers. They have any number of programs to help people in business planning and learning about procurement and everything involved with business. A lot of these programs are free.
Yeah.
And so we really, and on one hand, we have an excuse to say, okay, you know what? We have years of grooming and of denial that have kind of shaped our mindset and our habits. But reality today is, we do have opportunity. You just got to be aware and be prepared to take advantage of the resources that are there. No one's just going to give you money.
No.
So you got to understand that and say, yes, you know what? You have a great opportunity to build a business, to get resources and capital, but make sure that you don't come to the table unprepared. Get mentors, find business mentors, take advantage of the chambers in your communities and the resources that they have. Take advantage of online resources. Do your homework. And if you do that, you'll have a much greater likelihood of getting the capital, getting the resources, getting off the ground. And more importantly, once you get off the ground, stay off the ground.
Yeah.
Because a lot of businesses fail, whether you're Black, white, or Hispanic, Asian, whatever. They fail. And it's for lack of vision, of planning, of resources, any number of reasons. So just be aware of that and learn to look at failure as an opportunity for growth. I remember I'll say this quickly, had a conversation with a multi-millionaire. My brother was working for a company that made ATM machines and kiosks. This is way back in the day, like 2001. And I had an opportunity to have breakfast with him and the owner of this company. They were in Ohio closing on some big bank deal, multi-million-dollar deal. And I said, well, heck yeah, I want to sit down with you. I want to pick your brain and I want to ask you about your story and what are the learnings? What did you learn through this journey? Like, how did you get here? Yeah. And so he broke it down. He says, "Man, you see me today. You see me today. I am successful today. I have the trappings of wealth per se, right? But what you don't see, and the story that's not always told is I have embarrassingly, like thoroughly failed at 7 different businesses. Financial ruin, 7 businesses. But he says your mindset has to always be not to look at a failure as failure, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. So every time that I so-called failed, I just learned and grew and took that knowledge into my next opportunity, And pretty soon I'm not making the same mistakes. I'm building on my knowledge until I finally got it all right. And here I am today with all of that real world knowledge and expertise. And here I am, a multi-millionaire with a very successful company. So we have to have that same that same inner working, that same growth mindset, that same mindset of not looking at failure as failure as well.
No, that 100% on that, 100% on that, and we've got to help each other, because you accumulate. Here's what capital. People think of capital. They always think of it either in human capital or they think of it as resources and monetary. Capital is in your information, knowledge, and wisdom. You've accumulated that, and it's valuable. What is your experience? I would probably want to talk to somebody as a mentor or consultant. Like, all right, your business failed. Yes, it did. I want to hire you as a consultant. Like, why would you hire somebody who's failed as a consultant? Because I want to know why you failed. I want to understand it. I want to see what you were doing and what these key economic factors or whatever it was that happened in the market that occurred to you, so I won't hopefully make that same type of mistake. Because if you only talk to people, it's like, wow, yeah, I'm a millionaire, and you want to talk about their success, right? That might not give you the whole picture, because their success is usually always contingent on factors that you cannot duplicate. So that's very important to understand everybody's story. Another thing I want to let our audience understand, because we are on a worldwide network. Just because an American bank won't give you money, don't limit yourself. There are banks all over the world. There are so many people that are willing to invest and they want to invest in America, and they see Black Americans as an untapped resource. They're always looking for new opportunities. How can I tap into that resource? And if a typical American businessman won't, or I say company won't invest in you, that's an opportunity. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and fund that, from my Nigerian bank or some other part of the world. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and fund that, get it operationalized. I'm part of their board. We're going to make this happen, because we're not going to be deterred by someone else that doesn't have the vision, or the perception or the attitude to, I'm going to go ahead and put money into this society. And you brought up another good point. If Black people are always in the consumer side of the model, they don't want to invest in you because that is not in their benefit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, man. Grant, we could go another hour easy on these topics, and I so enjoy these types of topics, and I hope our audience, got as much out of it as I did, and I'm sure you did as well. But these are conversations that need to happen, and as we like to say as well, genius is common. Let's share our genius with each other. Find mentors out there. Find it's people that you can bounce ideas off of. Get into these mastermind groups where people have the same like-mindedness in terms of thought and action, and really want to learn from each other. And it's all about business. It's all really about sharing ideas and moving forward. Get around that kind of energy, and you will be way better for it. So thank you so much for joining me on this panel and a wonderful conversation. And as we like to say again, genius is common. I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business.
Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at PBX USA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
The 5-Star BDM LinkedIn Social Selling course can help you stand out and attract the right connections and opportunities. We will help you professionally create your profile, provide personalized recommendations for improvement, and help you create and share engaging content to help you showcase your skills and expertise. Our 5-step course makes connecting with industry experts, finding job opportunities, and building meaningful relationships easy. Social selling can be an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Our course will help you solve the problems associated with digital networking. If you need help personalizing your outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. If you need help targeting the right prospects, this course is for you. With so much noise on social media, it can be challenging to cut through the clutter and get your message in front of the right people. Our course will personalize your messaging using our targeting tools and research. You can identify and reach the right prospects. We will also show how to deliver high quality, valuable content that attracts and engages prospects and clients. The 5-Star BDM LinkedIn Social Selling course will address these challenges by implementing best practices. As a result, you can improve your social selling efforts and generate better results. Are you looking to improve your LinkedIn profile and reach a wider audience? Social selling is an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Some common problems we saw with social selling include lack of visibility. If your profile is not optimized or you're not actively participating in groups or sharing content, it can be difficult to get noticed on LinkedIn. Number 2, lack of personalization. Some businesses struggle with personalizing their outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. Also, difficulty targeting the right prospects. It can be difficult to identify and target the right prospects on social media, especially if you don't have access to robust targeting tools. And number 4, outdated content. If your LinkedIn profile or content is not up to date, it can give the impression that you're not actively engaged on the platform or that your skills and experience are not current. And lastly, poor quality content and not leveraging video and picture to convey ideas. To solve these problems, the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling Video course will help you focus on personalizing your outreach and messaging to better connect with prospects. In module number 1, the foundation, we will help you create high quality, valuable profile that will attract and engage. In module 2, the story, optimizing your LinkedIn profile to make sure it is complete, accurate, and visually appealing. In module number 3, the experience, using your targeting tools and research to identify and reach out to the right prospects. In module number 4, engagement, establishing a consistent follow-up process to nurture leads and build relationships over time. And lastly, in number 5, execution. Understand the metrics to help you measure your brand effectiveness. By addressing these challenges and implementing best practices, you will improve your social selling with the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling course. Listen to what others have said about 5-star BDM.
Grant, I'll tell you why I'm here, right? I'm here because I love your brand. When we started chatting on LinkedIn, we connected. I checked you out and I go, man, this guy knows what he's talking about.
You were definitely instrumental in helping to shape that knowledge of who I am. Because at first I thought, well, I am an actress. I am a writer. I am a producer. I am a speaker. And so I said, well, I must be a creative communicator. I know that there is a narrative thread here, but you nailed it when you said you are a storyteller. So you brought it all together in this cohesive title.
Sign up today to improve your social selling opportunities. Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.